1. At first it was just a kiss, tentative at first, her lips moving over his body. She found the hole, one of them, one that the AK-47 had left, this one in his bicep. Her tongue fluttering over the wound, healed now, grazing it lightly, as if to say, it's all right, I still want you, you're still beautiful. And on the third pass, her tongue slid in, at first just the tip, and he didn't push her away, and as her tongue went deeper, he shuddered down to some untapped core and moaned, and it surprised them both. Word spread across the base. It was only a matter of time before it caught on. 2. In 2006, a physicist in Texas had synthesized a crystal formed entirely of holes. A crystal formed entirely of holes. You couldn't hold it in your hands, but its mass could be measured by how much air it displaced, by the way light passed through it. It came directly from research being done into the shape of nothing, which had been revealed to great fanfare a few months earlier, with charts and renderings and shadowy drawings. 3. As with most pure science, the military was the first to understand the practical applications. Put bluntly, they had so many bodies shot through with so many holes, a simple, unavoidable byproduct of their business. Bad enough, the casualties, but the injuries, the wounded, they never play well on TV. A military researcher read about the new crystal. What if one combined this non-entity, this synthetic nothing, with even rudimentary stem cell technology? He speculated it could create, in essence, an entire new organ. The whole itself would become the organ. An evolutionary leap, but not the first. Vegetables had been engineered for decades. Every species from one-cell bacteria on up had by now been cloned. The higher-ups didn't care much about the Darwinian aspects to it. They were just tired of bleeding out. If it worked, the idea was to apply this new technology to those wounded in battle. Shrapnel blows a hole through your skull. The wound itself becomes a new organ, incorporated into the body. If it worked, and there was every reason to believe it would, even a hand or a leg blown off could be restored. You still wouldn't be able to see it, but technically it wouldn't be classified as missing. Every soldier could now walk off a plane into his or her loved one's arms for all the world to see. Home, waving a hand that wasn't there, the sun shining through the hole shot through his chest. Win-win. Just to interrupt for a second, I actually wrote this. I realized it was a commission for Nerve magazine, and they got to that part and they decided they didn't want to do it. They actually asked me if I could just eliminate the whole middle of it and just use the first paragraph and the last. 4. A soldier lay in a dusty parking lot in Baghdad, a jagged line machine-gunned across her chest, holes that will kill her, holes through which her life will escape, unless these holes themselves can be incorporated into her body. Stateside, 6 weeks later, at her bedside, her boyfriend pulls back the bedsheet to see how she's healing. 7 pink-tinged, round-lipped blossoms. His finger hovers briefly over each one, tracing their swelling. She shudders, takes his face in her hands, and kisses him, their first real kiss since the operation, now pressing her whole body against him, rubbing the holes against his chest. He places his finger in his mouth, wets it, and circles the hole shot through her collarbone, slowly working his finger inside, below the surface, working it slowly in and out, making it bigger, slowly able to accept 2 fingers, then 3. By the end of the night, he'd filled every one. 5. Erica watched the soldiers coming off the plane, waving their empty hands. Her mother was on the couch reading magazines called Us and In Touch, which Erica called Them and Out of Touch. The air conditioner whirred to life. This was the apartment they'd lived in since her father vanished. Sunlight shone through the soldier's mouth. That's messed up, Erica said to no one, switching channels. 6. Side effects. As with everything, there's side effects. Once you're brought back from the other side, once you've gone over, you no longer recognize where you're from, not really. You're a new freaking species, soldier. What do you expect? Still, you were shipped back to where you came from, shipped home. It was impossible for you to stay. Baghdad, to Crete. For what? To wander the desert with a hole through your heart. 7. It wasn't exactly boredom, more a sense of the unreal. Houston, to Erica, felt deeply unreal, even if she couldn't point out anything specific and say, what is that? Everywhere she looked was another temple to the ultra-real, a coffee shop that smelled like coffee, a record shop lined with bins of used CDs. The tattoo on her backside, she'd wake up some mornings, keep her eyes shut, try to remember what it was. Flames? A snake? 3 snakes entwined around something? What? Why did she get it? With who? What did it mean? Maybe it was a lotus blossom. She'd read somewhere that because of all the barbecue joints in Houston, the air over the city was made up of 10% burnt particles of flesh, particulate matter. Maybe she'd heard it on the radio. She could still hear a voice pronouncing the words, particulate matter. She read somewhere else that the drinking water was 6% antidepressants from sewer runoff seeping into the groundwater, pissing in a river, watching fish smile. Erica calls herself a vegetarian some days. The air is meat, the graffiti on a bridge over 59 says. Be happy. 8. The porn industry picked up the ball. First the low-end companies, the bucket shops, but it quickly spread to the mainstream. Click on YouTube, type in a crystal made entirely of holes, and you can see it, a video, homemade. It shows the tonguing, lots of tonguing, but it doesn't show how to make the holes. 9. Houston is the center of the plastic surgery world. More people alter themselves here than anywhere else on the planet. In Houston, there's a plastic surgeon. Let's call him Dr. Malik. For a while, Malik oversaw the coercive interrogation wing at the federal prison downtown. State-of-the-art facility, high-risk prisoners. With the passage of the Military Commissions Act, safeguards had been put in place to prevent the abuses and embarrassments of another Abu Ghraib. Strict oversight. In interrogation rooms, Malik perfected a technique to simulate the effects of a shrapnel or bullet wound to flesh. And then he would heal the wound a few minutes or a few hours later, after the questions had been asked, after the answers had been given or not given. 10. Word spread. The skateboard punks who used the concrete fortifications outside the prison as jump ramps heard about what was happening on the other side of the walls. They saw the nighttime deliveries, a hooded man, an orange jumpsuit, the spray-painted goggles, the old-school headphones that silenced everything. 11. Malik opened the first drive-through holery in the desolation of downtown, out of a storefront below the Pierce Street's overpass. He'd recently been retired from the prison. Rumors he'd gone a little too far, though no formal charges were filed. Malik kept a running tally on an electronic billboard, visible from the highway, of the number of holes he'd punched. Your mind is your only limit was the tagline. At first he gave out a Krispy Kreme donut to each customer, the perfect synergistic franchise. Then now he doesn't bother. No one ate them anyway. 12. Once it caught on, Erica said it was all she found to believe in, that her God-given body had always seemed so limiting. Her God-given body filled her with despair, she said. It wasn't a matter of belief because she professed to believe nothing. She and the other skateboard punks found themselves wanting more options. The flesh they were born with, the few holes they were given, the few ways they'd found to fill them. It wasn't enough, not anymore. Maybe it never was. They wanted some new organs. They wanted to be transformed. They wanted to become new freaking species. 13. Maybe it was the Krispy Kremes, but after they got their first hole, the punks called themselves donuts. Those with 12 called themselves a dozen. 14. One hole per visit was allowed by law, though there was no limit on the number of visits one could make. One could come every day. Erica came every day. I'm a dozen, Eric said. I'm 2 dozen. The day you got a donut, someone else had to drive you home. That was the other rule. Those days, Erica's boyfriend got the donut instead of her. She'd drive away with one hand on the wheel and her other hand tearing off his bandage. Most days, though, she came alone. For Erica, Malik bent the rules. Saint Erica. Pilgrims crossed the parking lot on their knees just to touch her toe with a hole shot through it. 15. Her body was state-of-the-art. You could see the sky through her forehead, the stars through her palm. Bones were rearranged. Bones weren't a problem. She wanted each hole to shoot clean through to the other side. She wanted to shoot through to the other side. One more and she'd be gone. Pure donut, it was called, but no one had yet gone that far. A crystal made entirely of holes. Malik knew Erica would go that far. She was that beautiful. From that moment on, we'd only glimpse the outline of where she'd once been. Thanks. Woo!